Have you noticed how every YouTube video in the last 24 hours seems to be talking about new $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks for Americans? It's all over the internet, big thumbnails, bold titles, and endless promises. But what if I told you the real truth? That there is zero chance of any stimulus checks being sent out before the midterms. I said it in my previous video, and I'm repeating it again today. Because when it comes to your money, your benefits, and your stability, I believe in giving you the truth, not false hope. Knowing the facts isn't fear-mongering, it's financial awareness. Before we begin, please hit that like button and subscribe to Social Security Post, where we bring clarity and facts for seniors, ssdi and SSI recipients, and hardworking Americans trying to make ends meet. Stay with me through the full video, because I'll explain exactly why these checks aren't coming now, and what you can do to stay prepared when Washington finally moves again. Right now, the United States federal government has entered its 27th day of a full shutdown, one of the longest in recent history. Nearly 900,000 federal employees have been furloughed, while millions of others, including TSA agents, FAA staff, and postal workers, are working without pay. Federal agencies like the Department of Agriculture, IRS, and HUD are all running on emergency reserves. When Washington can't even fund its own workers, how can anyone realistically expect a nationwide stimulus payment of $1,000 or $2,000 to suddenly appear? Stimulus checks require money, and money requires congressional approval. But Congress hasn't passed even the basic 2026 appropriations bill yet. The Treasury Department is functioning on limited authority, meaning no new spending programs can legally begin until a funding agreement is reached. With gridlock tightening and partisan fights over spending cuts versus social program protections, the chance of new stimulus checks emerging before midterms is not just low, it's zero. You've probably seen headlines, TikToks, and videos promising that stimulus checks are coming soon. People are desperate for relief, grocery costs are up, rent is up, and energy prices are still painful. Many channels are using this frustration to drive views. The figure of $1,000 to $2,000 isn't random. It's the amount Americans remember from earlier COVID-era checks, which temporarily lifted millions out of poverty. Those checks created hope, and people want to believe that help like that could come again. But here's the reality. No member of Congress, no Treasury official, and no White House spokesperson has proposed or confirmed any new stimulus legislation in 2025. What's happening now is more like echo news, recycled information from old bills, or clickbait rumors amplified by frustration. And as your trusted Social Security explainer, I have to say clearly, believing these rumors could hurt your financial planning. It's better to face the truth now than be disappointed later. Here's where logic steps in. Even if Congress wanted to send out stimulus checks, it's impossible to make it happen before the midterms. Passing a new stimulus bill involves multiple steps: introduction, committee debate, House and Senate approval, presidential signature, and Treasury rollout. Normally, this takes months. Right now, lawmakers are focused entirely on reopening the government, not authorizing new spending. And there's another layer: politics. Sending out checks weeks before an election can be seen as an attempt to influence voters. Both parties are cautious to avoid that perception, especially when control of Congress is on the line. No politician wants to risk being accused of buying votes during campaign season. That's why I said from day one, the idea of new checks before midterms isn't just unlikely, it's politically impossible. Stimulus programs aren't free. They cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The COVID-era checks cost over $800 billion combined. Right now, the U.S. budget is locked in a shutdown because Congress can't even agree on baseline spending. Agencies like the Department of Agriculture are warning that SNAP benefits for November may not be funded if the stalemate continues. A $130 million private donation to pay active duty troops, something almost unheard of in U.S. history. When our Defense Department needs charity to pay soldiers, that's not a government ready to roll out new stimulus checks. Every stimulus dollar would require new borrowing, increasing the national debt, which already exceeds $35 trillion. Lawmakers on both sides are debating spending freezes and entitlement reform, not expansion. That's why at this stage, any talk of new checks is pure political noise. There is no funding source, no bill, and no timeline that could make it happen before the elections. Let's look around at what's actually happening. More than 900,000 workers are temporarily jobless due to furloughs. Major airports have reported flight delays and cancellations because of air traffic controller shortages. SNAP offices in multiple states, including Texas, Pennsylvania, and Illinois, have warned that November benefits could be delayed or reduced without congressional action. Federal housing programs are also freezing new Section 8 vouchers because of missing funds. When a government can't even guarantee food assistance or pay its employees, sending out new $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks becomes an impossible fantasy. The economy is bleeding jobs, confidence is slipping, and agencies are scrambling to stay open. These facts aren't meant to create fear. They're meant to keep you informed. Because when others say stimulus checks are coming, I want you to remember these numbers. Some people have accused me of fear-mongering because I said there's zero chance of stimulus before midterms. But being realistic isn't spreading fear. It's showing respect for my audience. I would rather tell you the hard truth now than sell you false hope for clicks. When I say zero chance, I mean it based on laws, timelines, and money flows, not emotion. Think about it. The shutdown is already harming food assistance, military pay, and essential services. If you were in Washington's shoes, would you print new checks during a fiscal crisis? Probably not. So, I want you to watch the entire video, not just the thumbnail, because understanding the facts helps you make smarter decisions. Budgeting, cutting expenses, and protecting your household from disappointment. Now, looking ahead, could there be a chance after midterms? Possibly, but only under specific conditions. Once the elections are over, Congress may try to pass an omnibus funding bill or supplemental relief targeting specific groups like farmers, veterans, or disaster-affected states. But a broad, universal stimulus check for every American? That would require bipartisan support and hundreds of billions in funding, unlikely without a new economic shock. Still, it's important to stay alert. Economic data like unemployment, inflation, and retail sales could push lawmakers to act in early 2026. If consumer spending collapses or another wave of layoffs hits, the government might consider targeted stimulus again. That's why you should stay subscribed, because if things change, I'll be here breaking down every new development for you with facts and clarity. So let's sum this up. Despite all the trending videos, there is zero chance of any $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks before the midterms. The government is shut down, funding is frozen, and lawmakers are focused on reopening the country, not sending new payments. Knowing the truth isn't fear, it's preparation. If you made it this far, thank you for being part of the Social Security Post community. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss updates about Social Security, SSI, ssdi, SNAP, and federal relief programs. And tell me in the comments, if the government doesn't send new checks soon, what's the first thing you'll adjust in your monthly budget? Let's talk about it down below. Stay informed, stay calm, and remember, truth always beats rumor.